The agenda?
Second.
All in favor? Minutes of the last meeting?
I move that we approve the minutes from the February 21st and the February 28th meetings.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Administrator Weekly Update?
Okay, just a couple items for you tonight. First is, one of the questions that came up last week in the public hearing regarding the floodplain was the date that was inside the actual ordinance. We did get some clarification from the state, and that June date or July date that's in there, July 17th, is when they expect to have the new maps ready. They do say that some communities have expressed concern about adopting maps that do not become effective until several months after they're adopted. Please note that it's acceptable for the community to set their effective date, same date as the ordinance, or choose the July 17th as just the deadline date. So I guess I need to hear from you if you want it to be effective the same day as the town meeting, when it would become effective, should it pass, or if you want to leave it the way the text has it from the state, July 17th.
Has the Selectmen and the Warrant Finance Committee approved
Yes.
that document? And what was the date in the
July
document?
17th.
Personally, I would just leave it there and not go back. I don't know how
Yep.
I feel, but
I don't think it makes any difference anyways.
No.
It really doesn't.
I appreciate the question, but I'm not sure it makes any difference. You know, that's gonna-
All right, so we'll leave that.
Yeah, Warrant Finance, you have any thought on the,
Leslie said she'll be a little late, so.
We'll leave it to John, he's our vice chair.
John?
I have no problems with it.
Thank
Okay,
you, George.
Good. Okay.
The only other item that I have is a reminder that Saturday is our Teen Supper,
Oh, this Saturday.
Okay.
4 to 6. It's free. We've got quite a few RSVPs, especially from our older community, so we're looking forward to that. So 4 to 6. That's it.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, one more thing. I didn't have a chance to ask you guys before. So you should have seen the emails back and forth. Mr. Caruso had asked, we've been communicating the last couple of weeks about being on the agenda versus public comments, kind of gone back and forth. He had sent a presentation over, it did come in late morning, I think, today, and I had Tom take a look at it. You guys just saw it at 5 o'clock, so I need to give him some sort of guidance on where he goes from here with this packet that he presented.
Bill, you want to come up? Thank you. I've had a chance to look over the packet. Thanks for sending it in. I think for me, the last page really summarized the points that you wanted to make in terms of concerns you may have or recommendations you may have. Is that a fair statement? And that the preceding pages were almost like a tutorial. And I didn't think it was necessary to go through that. I appreciate that you did it. What I'm asking is, I think we should focus on the last page. Just get to the issues. You've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 issues that you've summarized there. And so I'd suggest that we now all have that, and next week we could go through a period where we could ask questions, you could say what you want to say, and we could decide what, if anything, we want to do about it.
So does that, and I was gonna ask, and I understand, since it got in late today, you didn't have time to review it, I think that's perfectly understandable. And that's why I wanted to ask to be on the agenda next week, since time was the issue, so we can, because there is, you know, the rest of it's up here where I can tie these things and make it flow, and it's not just for you guys, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's for other people to understand. I want to go through it. It won't take long.
It was rather lengthy, and to be honest with you, I didn't see anything in there particularly complex or that most people wouldn't understand. So I think if we get into a discussion on any of these items, we're probably going to be covering some of those issues. It's just, my guess is, if you go through that document and we have the discussion, you're talking a half hour at a minimum. That's my guess, and I'm trying to shrink it down. I think these are the points you want to make. I understand them. So we want to give you an opportunity to make those.
Yeah. Well,
But I don't think we need to hear what a policy is. I think people know what a policy is, or they know what a reserve account is.
Well, and at the same time, Phil, we don't need you to tell us what a policy is. We already know what a policy is.
I know that, but there's two that have been ignored, that's why I brought it up.
Well,
And
exactly.
working in the government for many
Okay.
decades, you don't ignore policies. And if you, I'm not gonna discuss it now, but I do have a problem with you telling me I can't go through that, it won't take 30 minutes. And it's not for your benefit necessarily. I pay taxes, I'm not, the first thing I put on there was a disclaimer, and all I mean by that is, that they haven't even seen this, they've seen this after you, I just handed it to them. Nobody had any other input, I'm only representing me
I understand,
and
this
my
is
wife,
you.
so,
Yeah.
and as a concerned taxpayer, and all this has been discussed last April, which is why I referred to it.
A lot of
And
this
that's when I
stuff
started going through it in my head for a year, because, and watching that video, I'm like, well, nothing's occurred. And I'd absolutely wanna go through it. And again, I'm glad you understand that it's so simple, I agree. But it's not just for your benefit. I mean, I'm a townsperson, I wanna have an opportunity, and I can whip through it, because I wrote it, pretty quickly for other people's benefit. So I appreciate, and anyway, that last page is not, they're simply suggestions, not just a summary of what's before it. People couldn't look at that page and have any idea what I meant prior to that. There's no way, without me going through it quickly. And the whole point is how these things are related.
I don't think you're gonna get in, you're not gonna get through that in 10 minutes, I'll tell you that right now.
Well, why don't you give me a chance? I'll bet you I will.
All right, if you want a hard stop at 10 minutes, and you're gonna stop at that point, I don't know how the other board members will feel about it. I'm fine with that, but I'm not gonna sit for a half hour hearing about, for me personally, things that I think are, quite frankly, straightforward and understood by most people.
Okay, so will we discuss what's gonna be done about any of those?
I'm saying you got 10 minutes and figure out how to use it. If the board wants to give you more, they're welcome to. I'm trying to get a time, look, I think a half hour is a minimum of what I saw there. Just me.
You're welcome to think that.
Yeah, I am. And I'm a board member, and I'm trying to express to you what my view is on that.
I understand that, Tom, I'm pretty smart.
I'm sure that you are, Phil, I'm not trying to be confrontational here. I'm simply trying to say that I think what you're proposing is a significant chunk of time, and when I look at it, to me, it seems like rather straightforward, and there's no need to take people's time to explain what a policy is or what a reserve fund
I'm
is.
not gonna explain what the policy is.
No, it was in your document, Phil.
Correct, they can read that. The point
Well,
that's
my,
in
my
there,
issue here
the
is,
reason that's in there, Tom, is because there's two policies that have been ignored that have created a problem. I'm not saying anything that wasn't brought up last April.
Yeah,
And I'm not criticizing, I don't mention anyone's name, I don't even say the select board. I'm not doing this to piss anyone off, I'm doing this because it's a serious discussion that needs to happen, that isn't happening. Because 11 months ago, things were brought up by Bob and Gary and Buck and myself that were never, some of it wasn't even responded to, as I point out. And the plan was committed to by you and David, which hasn't occurred to my knowledge. And as far as capital improvements, there's no, you can watch the video. There's no capital improvement plan, right? Or there's no plan that you told Buck that you would commit to after the mill rate was set. So I'm not trying to piss anyone off. I'm someone who doesn't do well with just talk. And I imagine Gary brought this up at the meeting when he was talking about capital improvements. I'm just trying, you guys are doing a job, and I appreciate that. But I have serious concerns, and they're valid. And I need more than just going through the last page, and it won't take long.
How long will it take, Phil?
How long do you want?
How much time you want?
15 minutes at the most.
I'll go you the 15 minutes, but at the same time, you know, for what I've gone through and what you presented to us, I think a lot of this will come to light, our capital plans, and the reason why they're not forthcoming, because, you know, we do have a plan, and we don't have as much money as you think we have. And, so I think, so you get your thing ready, you get 15 minutes next week, correct? That works? Yep, good, okay. I wanna be able, absorb this myself, because I just got this thrown on the desk there half an hour ago. I wanna make sure that I'm prepared for it also, because we went and had a public hearing last year about the investments. We went through all that, and we set a policy. I believe we're doing what we're supposed to do. But obviously, if you have a concern, you air that we'll air that next week. But I wanna be able to rebut it also.
Okay, and just
Okay.
real quickly, I'm glad you think you're doing what you're supposed to do. I don't agree.
No, and I understand that, but I'm also not gonna turn this into an election speech either.
I have
So-
no interest in being a selectman, I can assure you, none.
Okay,
Not
so we
this
wanna
time.
make sure that we're all prepared for this, thank you.
I really am.
So,
Thank you for your time,
Okay.
gentlemen.
4 minutes. We're gonna move on there, and,
David, I'm sorry to interrupt, so I am getting notice that it's not live streaming, I've reached out to Mike Corey. He
I
is,
see light. We
I
should
do
be-
see light, when you go to the site and you click on it,
Are
it
they,
doesn't seem to be.
are they going to the actual town hall stream site?
I am on the actual town hall
Okay.
stream,
I just got a note, it's not being,
yes,
it's
broadcasting.
not on the TV.
Right, it's not broadcasting, so I called Mike, he's working on it, I have to believe that it's still being recorded to the SD, so he'll still be able to convert it after the
Why don't
fact.
we take
So it's just not gonna be
minutes just to
live,
be
you
sure?
still
Yes,
gonna be
sir.
back, right?
We'll take minutes just to be sure, it's not a requirement
Yeah, we
to be
don't.
out there, but, am I correct?
Right.
Yeah, so we'll have minutes one way or the other.
Is there anything that we are violating by not having?
No, the
it?
meeting's posted and we're not required to film
Okay, I
them,
just
but,
wanna make sure we're.
and just so you
doing
know,
our due
with the red light
diligence.
on, I have to believe that it's still being recorded to the SD card, so
I
he'll be
believe
able to
that's what he told us.
upload it to YouTube.
We just
After
wanna make
that.
sure we don't go too far
No.
beyond if it's not.
It's just not running live,
Because we're gonna be able to do our minutes off
it's the
that.
switch on, yes.
Kinda have to have that. Well, now someone's gonna have to start writing really fast.
I got it.
I mean, I can
I'm
try
not
it.
that guy.
I'm taking minutes, I'm all set.
You won't be able to read them, if I'm doing them, so.
I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
No, there isn't.
Are we good?
That's all I had, yes, sir, so.
Oh, I thought we were waiting to make sure.
Oh,
this
no,
was
so
all
he's
good.
asking if the switch is on, obviously it is, I'm asking if it's going to the SD card, I mean, he's working on it, but, I mean, there are meetings that,
So it is going to something, is it?
He hasn't
recording?
replied to
Okay.
that
So
portion
we'll
yet.
continue
Have
on.
we tried
I assume
turning
we've
it
had
off and
other
turning it back
meetings that
on?
have used this and it worked fine?
yes,
No, strange.
and we've had the meetings that sometimes inadvertently don't get filmed, so.
Okay,
Okay, well then we've
well,
got,
we'll figure it out.
so you're all set with your town administrator
Yes,
update,
sir.
okay, we're gonna go to department head committee chair updates, Tom, do you have anything?
No, wait a minute, department head committee.
Oh, sorry, I went right down the liaison, sorry about that, Leslie, come on up.
Leslie Berland, Warden Finance Chair. We had our meeting on Monday, and we voted on the remaining 2 articles. The mooring article was voted 6-0, ought not pass. And the foreclosure, 6-0, pass.
Approved.
The committee wanted to request that we still, even though the budget season technically is coming to a close, that we are still forwarded month-end summary reports and year-end summary reports. I know that with the treasurer leaving us, saying that there will probably be a little bit of a delay, but
No, I don't
Jennifer,
see why it would be.
do you anticipate when February's gonna be coming?
As soon as we get them from Mr. Roy, we'll send them along.
Okay, so.
So you're asking for these for how long?
Right,
Regularly.
Just regularly, any?
Just, yeah,
Right along.
right along, yeah. Just so we can, start prepping ourselves for the next year, so we have all of the documentation.
We're emailing these?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good.
So we did, wanna request that. Also, Tom, you had done a, summary for the school, over the past, I think it was from 2017.
Is this the one I?
The one, yeah, the
Yeah.
spreadsheet that you had done.
Yeah.
That my email has disappeared, so I don't have access to that spreadsheet anymore.
We may have disappeared.
It's not on my,
Town one.
in my town account.
It was in your inbox and it's
It
gone?
was in my inbox and it's not
Did you
anymore.
look at
So
your- did
I
you look at
ne-
your
never
send box?
printed out the spreadsheet, so I don't have
Hang on a
access
minute,
to
I
it.
think I got a copy here. Would
Well,
you
that's-
like a paper copy?
No, I think what she's gonna go to is, remember she replied to the email asking if Tom could do one of those for the town?
I'm not gonna do one of those for the town. Not to be difficult, we got a detailed budget, it's summarized lines, it's got this year. It's just not in that format. And I did that so that I personally could understand the school's budget. So it was done for me personally, I'm happy to share it, that's not a problem.
Okay.
But I think the reports and formats that we've given you for the town, which is what you've used in your evaluation of the warrants, I don't think there's anything in those schedules I did for the school that aren't covered in.
But what
the
it
budget.
shows is the growth of the budget over the years, and that's what.
I would have to go back and get the budgets for the, what did I do, 3 or 5 years?
I think you did more than, I think you did at least 5.
Yeah, see, I'd have to go back and plug those, I just, that's a fair amount of work. And,
And
I'm not the town treasurer,
Yeah.
I'm a selectman, and I'm doing this for my own purposes. I don't need to do it for the town. So, I'm sorry, Leslie, I'm just, I don't think it's a responsibility I have as a selectman to produce that. I just don't.
Okay, so.
It would take a lot of work to
I
do
know-
that.
I know it's a lot
And
of
I'm
work.
just, look, I did it because I couldn't figure out the school, and that's why I did it. I can figure out the town.
So, all right, so.
And regarding your email, if you wanna come in, we can certainly log into the server, your website, your email from the server, and we can find it in your sent box and re-get it back in your inbox.
Yeah, I mean, and I've had problems with my town account recently, and I think, because I've had things not sent,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden, and I send it again, and then 3 or 4, you get 3 or 4, and
Yes.
I probably wonder what I'm doing,
That's okay.
so.
We are at the very end of our domain, Dan Krampus is in the process of switching it over, within the next couple of weeks, so it won't be much longer.
Okay, all right.
Do you want a copy of this?
I would like, yes, I'd like one.
Great.
I have electronically, so.
Oh, you have it well, just send it to electronically, then that would be fine.
Do you want to
Yeah, electronic is fine, I mean, I just didn't print it out,
Sure.
and then, I
Okay.
went back to look for
Right,
it,
if
and
you
it
get
was
it
gone.
electronically, will that take care of it
That'll
for you?
take care of it,
Great,
yes.
great.
Yeah, so, all right, so if, I may end up actually doing that work, then that
Okay.
will take some time. So what I will
luck.
probably need, and I'll let Jennifer know, is year-end actuals, I think.
They're all in the audit.
Yeah.
Page, I can get the page number, but, I don't know, I think it's around page 80.
I'm looking more for line item, so I would want the,
It has not every line, but it has for municipal management, it lists all of the various units within municipal management. So I believe you'll find sufficient detail there. If you want to see more detail than that, that would have to come from the general ledger.
all right, I'll take a look at.
Look at it,
I'll look
you
at
know,
the audit
yeah.
and see if that's sufficient. and
We'll
if
try to
not,
help you out. Okay?
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
All right,
May I ask, you done with that part of it?
yes.
The Moran ordinance, okay, you
Yes.
said the finance committee recommended not to pass.
Yes.
Can you give us a couple ideas of what was the concerns with that article?
We felt that the article was rushed. There were several people who had concerns that the right-of-way and the common spaces weren't addressed in it. Which is, could be and that's where your significant problem is going to be, is with the right-of-ways. And that part wasn't addressed. I mean,
Because we pulled it out,
I'm sorry?
because we pulled it out of the ordinance?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, and I think the whole committee agreed that we need a lot more conversation, we need more taxpayer input into it before we go forward. And we just felt it wasn't, not ready for prime time, so to speak.
We're making recommendations, or want to know kind of why you guys decided not to go for it?
Yeah, and I mean, and also, I mean, we have 6 voting members, 3 of the voting members live on Lakes, one's on Great East, one's on Square, one's on Mousen, so there is we're spread out, with all different views.
So it was 6-0 ought not to pass?
6 ought not pass,
Odd
yes.
mess, okay,
Yeah.
very good.
So we just felt it wasn't, not enough discussion has occurred, you know, to realistically put together something that will work. And the right of ways, like I said, we felt needed to be addressed.
So, you said everybody, Lee Robichaud was on that committee, right?
He's not a
He's
voting
not a
member.
voting member.
He's not a board member,
No.
okay, that makes sense. Well, I was just confused because that same individual got up and said, this is great, blah, 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 but then I hear zero. That's because he's not a voting
He's
member,
not
I'm
a voting
sorry.
member.
That's why I was
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, okay, thank
Anyway,
you.
anything else?
Oh, I
No? All right.
appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I clear that up. Department head committee chairs, anybody else? I don't see any others. Okay, now we're done the liaison updates, Tom.
My efforts have primarily been in the financial area, in municipal management. Working with Jennifer, as there is no treasurer at the moment. And so that's ongoing and will continue to be until we fill those positions.
Ed, all set? Nothing? Dan?
I was able to attend the Conservation Forestry Committee meeting last night. I'm just really excited for the direction that the committee's going. It seems like they have some goals and plans and starting to set some timelines for some work they want to get done. So it was a really great meeting last night.
Good. Okay, and I have no update. Old business, 24-25 warrant recommendations.
Okay, so we have just the one article, advisory article, Article 50, to seek an advisory vote to determine if the select board should amend the current contract with Breezeline, formerly Atlantic Broadband, and discontinue the collection of franchise fees. That was the new article that was added after we discussed the concerns that came in from a member of the public. That was a recommendation of legal. We know that the Board of Selectmen have the right, but in an effort to be transparent, to get an opinion of what the voters think, that was the direction, and we kind of put that together at the last minute. So you guys haven't voted on it yet.
Has Warrant and Finance seen it?
Yes, they approved it 6-0.
Okay.
And I think it's a good way to be transparent.
Sure.
You know, we got an email from Mr. Murray, who was actually the one who brought this forward, okay? And he's not very satisfied that we're not just doing it. But the reason why I feel that we don't wanna just do it is because we're gonna encumber $32,000 of taxpayer funds.
Let the whole town, let
So-
all the taxpayers decide.
I think it's also an issue that, I don't know how many people have cable versus not have cable,
Yep.
but clearly there's a large segment of the population. Some would benefit, some would be hurt, so I think it just makes sense to, get a sense from the voters as to what they would like to have done, and then we can take that into account.
So,
So, appreciate Mr. Murray's sentiment, and I actually appreciate that he brought it to our attention.
what article?
Article 50.
Article 50, do I hear a motion to accept Article 50 as written?
I move that we recommend the adoption of Article 50 as written.
Seconded.
All in favor? Okay.
That is the temporary completion of the motion of the articles until we get to do business.
Are we adding that other article?
Well, I have it under new business.
Okay,
Yes,
we'll run down the new business, 24-25 warrant.
So, we have spent this last week, since the Warren Finance completed, since we got the final school numbers, adding everything up together, cross-comparing, make sure that everything is as accurate as possible. Discussion has just come up about the tax levy law limits, and I have contacted Mark Roy to find out through O'Donnell's what that limit is for the town of Acton. I do not have the number tonight, but there's the recommendation to put the article on there. Hopefully by this time tomorrow, we'll know if we need it or not. But you may possibly have to call the Warren Finance together. The article reads, to see if the town will vote to increase the property tax levy limit established by state law in the event that the municipal budget approved under the preceding articles will result in a tax commitment that is greater than the property tax levy limit. If you look at neighboring towns, you'll see that several of them have included this article this year.
We don't know what that limit is
No,
at
we are
this point.
working
So
desperately to
this
get
is
it.
a precaution that we're taking. The budget overall increased, I think, more than we had originally thought. And so we wanna make sure that we're covered. Once we get that, that limit calculation clear to us, and we begin to do some planning on what the tax rate would be, considering what might be used from reserves to lower the tax rate, et cetera. So, we, quite frankly, trying to keep our options open. We're not saying that we have tripped it, we just don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know, we just wanna be, we don't wanna have to come back to a special town meeting and do something, we might as well take care of this now.
And this is something that other towns put in regularly, or is this?
Some towns leave it in, I mean, every year, I mean, some do, some don't. You say Alfred does?
I
Do they?
think so.
Shapley, it's the first time, I'm the chair of the Warren Finance over there, and it's the first time we've seen it in several years. But we've got a new building we're trying to finish, so. Every town is different on it, you know, you could do it every year as a safe keep, but we'll get a better description of what exactly it is. If you Google, Maine State Law, property tax levy, you'll get the complete, definition of how it's calculated based on the property assessment versus, the municipal and school budget, so.
I mean, we set our tax rate in August.
Right.
But the problem is not knowing what passes, if everything passes through town meeting the way it is. We went down in our budget with 3.2, something like that,
Mhm.
percent.
200,000, yeah.
But the other side went up, I think 7, if not, you know, something around there. So, and looking at our undesignated fund, you know, everybody's like, oh yeah, we got all this money, but, thanks to Tom, because, you know, giving us a layout of kind of what's going on here. You know, we may have to do some predicting in the future. This is something that we may have to enact,
Right.
so to be able to do that
We
in
don't
budget.
wanna use
I think-
all our reserves in one year.
And the thing is if there is gonna be a tax increase over so many years, we wanna make it gradual. We don't wanna do it all at once. So we kinda have to, you know, add this article. So we're gonna make this article what?
51.
51, okay. So,
I'll make a motion to approve, or that we approve and forward to the Warrant and Finance Committee, Article 51 is drafted. Did I state that right, David?
I believe so, because you've
Okay.
done two things. We're gonna
Yep.
approve it, and we're gonna send it off to the,
Yep, Warren Finance.
and I got a second?
Yeah.
Okay, before I call, does, Leslie, do you have an issue? We may, I know you have, what, a 7-10 day, what's the limit?
I mean, we can post an emergency, I mean, they could meet as, I mean, they like Mondays, right? Mondays or Tuesdays, or any way you could do the 19th. Or even 18th, if I post it now, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, do Monday, the 18th.
And,
While she's looking, and I know you've done this, Tom, many times, and I'm appreciative of that, but I still hear, you know, and I'm still hearing when, you know, a couple of comments, when you guys made a comment that we don't have as much money as, you know, the town may think we do. You know, I'm hearing comments that I just don't think that, I just somehow we gotta break that down again, because they're not seeing that or understanding that, because it's,
It took
This,
me a
this
while.
motion is really to ensure that what we have all adopted in terms of warrants that we're sending forward to the town meeting, that if they all get approved, that the tax rate increase, the extent to which it exceeds this limit, we need authorization to do it. So this warrant doesn't have any money attached to it. It is simply trying to ensure that if everything that we all recommend passes, that we can legally set a tax rate reflective of all those budgets and do so consistent with Maine law. It's that simple.
I'd have to look, I have to look at my calendar at home to, I could let you know,
So I may post one Monday and Tuesday just to get ahead of it and have it posted today, to have it for Wednesday,
and
Thursday,
I
Friday.
can let
I
you
mean,
know.
that still gives us 6 and 7 days, so that's,
And if you can get the verbiage to us as soon as possible.
yeah, I can email it to you. Barbara.
We had asked this calculation to be done a few weeks ago.
Correct.
This was something, this has not just popped up. We were aware of this. We were hoping to have the calculation done and could say one way or the other whether this was necessary or not. The calculation is not done, so we're trying to just be proactive and make sure that we don't put ourselves in a position where we need another special town meeting to set a tax rate.
Would you anticipate having that calculation by the time you?
Yes, and then let me just to piggyback on what Tom's saying, in all fairness, we withdrew our request from the accountant to do that calculation, so, well, because we did not anticipate the school increase.
Oh, yeah.
So I just wanted,
Good
and
point.
I'm not, this is not about the school, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
we are not, he doesn't realize we're waiting for that. We had a
Thank
conversation.
you for clarifying.
Yes.
Yeah,
We
because
did
I'm
not
not
know at that
comfortable
point.
voting on something like that where I don't,
I know you
don't
wouldn't be,
have,
yeah, so,
you know, any ballpark figures.
right. You, I mean, if we had put this in front of you, I mean, I expect that I'll have it, you know, knowing him by the end of the night or by tomorrow. But we withdrew it because we originally were given a different number, what we
Yes.
thought the increase might be. We thought we knew where we were at until the actual numbers came in and these revenues came in. That's where the red flag went up that we may go over it. And we may not, and hopefully we don't.
It's really something tonight when we were looking at the numbers and we're like, you know, we might wanna do
Might have
something
an
here.
issue.
And,
Yeah. What is the allowable increase?
well, that's what we're trying to
what
figure
we're
out.
trying to find
It's
out.
based on
It's got a calculation that,
on assessment. And
If we knew that, then we would know whether or not we have to do this, and we don't know the number, and he should have that.
it's something
this
that the
month.
accountant and the assessor calculate together based on state law. It's not a quick, you know, I mean, maybe it's for them, but,
Yeah, okay.
um,
All right, because I know that there are quite a few people who, especially on the lakes, that their taxes have
And that's
already gone up.
what I was saying to Tom is it's almost taking, and then, but let me just say this, it's the amount, if you take the amount of money that's in that investment account, I almost just wanna see you take that number, what we have in all of our accounts, Tom, and subtract it and say, you know, that this is, it's, they don't realize that this has already all been spent. They think that we have this money in this account.
when I initially made that presentation, it was made on audited numbers for the year ending June 30, 2022.
Mhm.
Since then, we have had surplus, we have had monies applied to tax rates, we've had capital spending. There have been many changes. The 23 actuals have occurred. We're estimating what the 24 actuals will be, and now we're trying to forecast what the tax rate will be for 25. But Jennifer's right. When you look at through what we think it will be by June 30, 24, it's significantly less than we had in June 30, 22. Because of the application, and we went through a public hearing where we talked about the interest in setting money aside for capital versus applying it as tax relief, and I don't know, personally I wouldn't have done it, but there was a very clear sentiment expressed by people in that public hearing. They wanted tax relief, and that means you have less reserves. And that's what's going on. There's nothing mystical about it. It's, you know, it's just.
And I mean, and I certainly understand that. I also know that my taxes went, after the revale, went up 50%. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's just mine, and
I'm right
I don't
with you,
even,
Leslie.
I don't even have waterfront, so
Yeah.
some of my neighbors have been
Leslie,
astronomical.
the issue we're having, and this board, everybody that's dealing with this budget, you know, finance committee, everybody, when you start seeing the numbers, and you can see what we've done this year, and I think we, you know, we all talked to yay, you know, kumbaya, did a great job this year. What we did on our side of it is, you know, we had a drop at, you know, what, 3.2, was it?
200,000, almost 200,000.
Yeah,
Like one
it's
something.
decreased in our budget this year, okay? But the problem is, we can't dictate what the tax rate is because of the other budget that comes in on top of us.
And I understand that. I know
So-
that there's two parts to it.
And the county tax.
I don't know.
And the county tax, you know?
I think you asked a question, I just want to clarify it, because I think, I'll have my view on it, and I think the other board members can weigh in, and Jennifer. I think you were asking, will we have an estimated tax rate when you go to meet on this? No.
No,
No,
tax,
no, I
Okay,
wanted-
I just
to-
wanted to clarify.
Yeah, no,
That
that-
will
that-
not be there.
Because I know that you're not gonna have a tax rate
Okay,
until.
you're looking for the tax
after-
levy
Good.
number,
All right.
tax
That's
levy.
Yeah.
But
So, no, I understand that.
you know, as hard as we worked this year and the budgets that we flatlined or cut and what we've done, we try to do our part.
Absolutely, and I'm not saying, David, I'm not saying
Yeah,
that.
I know,
the
and
board
but what I'm
is-
getting to is,
It's,
the problem is every year we're going up $8 to $1 million every year on our budget, okay? And of course, you know, we're, you know, like Tom said, people want tax relief, we're gonna do tax relief, but the problem is we're gonna run out of money doing tax relief.
but I mean, and, you know, so on the other side, you need to understand that, you know, people's taxes keep going up. At some point, these budgets
We're gonna have to start getting
are
voted
not going
down.
to pass.
Exactly, that's the
You
only
know
way
what
to
that
stop
means?
it at this point.
You know what
That
that
means
means?
we're in austerity.
It's a cut of services.
Yeah, right.
Because the revenue, I don't think is gonna change a hell of a lot. It's all on the expense side. And so we're gonna be looking at how we wanna run town hall, what do we wanna do at the transfer station, what do we wanna do at the fire department, and what do we wanna do at the school? Cause that's more than half the budget.
Right.
So there are decisions in there for the taxpayers to make. And it's not gonna be easy, but it's not like we can just, the problem with using, and I know preaching to the choir, the problem with using reserves as tax relief is when you stop.
Mhm.
It has a huge, $500,000, you know, that's 50 cents on the tax rate.
Well,
The-
when we
I
had,
mean, in the year
when we
that you
had $1 million
stopped
in excess funds, that's, yeah.
No, I'm just saying, but
But
we've
that's
been
not-
doing it for 3 years now.
Right.
So if that goes away, and I think it's gonna go away, and if the school no longer has its relief, and from what I'm seeing, I'm not sure they're gonna. When I saw, you know, they offered up $400,000 this year, thank you very much. When I looked at the calculation of their reserves, I'm not sure they're gonna be able to do any next year. We'll have to hear from them. So if the town doesn't do any, and the school doesn't do any, there's $900,000. You know, that's a 80 cent increase in the tax rate from that item alone.
Right, and I understand that, but like I'm saying, at some point, the taxpayer is gonna say, no.
Yeah. Well,
And then we go into austerity like they had to do in Wakefield last
Yeah,
year,
yeah.
where their budgets didn't
And
pass.
I'm on the lake, I get it.
And I think, you know, we talk and all this other, at the end of the day, what are you gonna cut? Okay?
I'm sorry, is there,
You know, I think everybody's gotta, you know, sit back and go, well, what can we cut? Well, you saw us do what
I
we
know,
did this year.
and I know, and there was a lot of hard work and a lot of hard decisions
Yeah,
that were made, and absolutely.
and what we're gonna have to do is, we're gonna have to do a forecast, figure out, you know, how we're gonna, we don't wanna increase taxes. Last thing, I don't think we've increased taxes since I've been here.
we're all incented not to increase our own taxes.
We don't
so
wanna do that.
Nobody wants to do
But
that.
at the end of the day, you know, we keep hearing all this money we've got, but that money's disappearing real fast at this rate, okay? And there's gonna be a cliff, and unless we curve it now. And that we can curve that cliff now by gradually increasing the tax rate, unfortunately. Because we could throw the whole undesignated fund at our tax rate right now. We're gonna hit the cliff faster.
Yeah.
And
And
then,
it's gonna be a bigger cliff.
it's gonna be
And
huge cliff.
I certainly understand that, but not everyone will.
Yeah.
Well, and I, you know, like
Well, we'll have
Nancy
to
has,
explain it to them,
you
Leslie.
know, I explained to
That's all I
Nancy
can do.
last week the same thing, and I think it will be explained. And we will have to do that at some point. And Nancy, Joyce, you guys have something to add?
And I think that's kind of getting to the point that Jennifer was saying, is that I think everyone here in this room understands that. You folks show up every week and you follow along. I think it's the people who don't show up to these things where a lot of that conversation is coming from. How do we reach them? Explain, because I thought, someone who's not always a member, you did a phenomenal job explaining it. I think you've done a phenomenal job through this process. It's how do we reach those individuals and say, this is the reality. I think that's kind of what that point is. And I think as an educator, I think part of it is education and how do we reach more people than we are reaching out and explaining what is going on.
I think the challenge will be for us, and I mean the select board and the Warren Finance can certainly help in this, is that we need to lay some choices out for people. you can always cut the budget. But there is some pain, there is a reduction in service, but it's clearly possible to reduce the budget. And what we have to do is lay out some options for people. If that's the route that people wanna go. They think the tax rate's too high, okay, we'll receive that feedback. That would tell me as a selectman, gotta cut the budget. We gotta lay out some options for people. We can cut here, we can cut here, we can cut here. When we do so, this is the impact. And you get some feedback from people about what those options are and how they feel about what will be left in town government when we're done. But these are significant numbers. The municipal budget is less than $5 million. And we're funding 10% of that with our undesignated reserves when we use $500,000. And it just kind of puts things in perspective for people.
How much are we making in interest a year?
Well, yeah, we made over 200,000. I might believe, we haven't made it yet, but I think we'll do like 220, 230, 240, something in that range.
And that's the ballpark for the year.
That's a ballpark for the year. That's gonna go down.
Every year.
We're spending these reserves, therefore we have less cash.
Right.
And if you listen to the business news, interest rates are gonna be declining. So at some point, when they cut the interest rates and the cash balances go down, the interest income's gonna go down as well. Thank God we made it when we did, but now, who knows, maybe interest rates won't get cut. But I think it's clear our cash balances are going down because of the spending we're doing for tax relief purposes.
Well, perhaps we need to start floating these ideas to the taxpayers that, you know, we're gonna end up running into a budget crunch. What are your thoughts on, you know?
I would agree, how to do that. is
Rather,
something-
you know, to start that discussion, rather than wait until a budget gets defeated, and then we're in austerity.
I would never wait. I would get, and I'm sure my colleagues here would feel the same way. We want to get out in front of this and have an orderly process. It's got to be orderly. I don't want to be dealing with this next April. We're gonna take the time to lay this all out for people.
Yeah, I don't think any of us wanna put a budget forward that isn't going to pass. That's why we work so hard to try to,
Right,
you know, get it down to you folks as well, so that's
Plus-
appreciated.
The budget that we put forward, okay, should not have the slush that it's had in the last so many years, so, you know, our
Right.
designated funds should be getting smaller,
Yeah.
'cause that's what the town's asked for.
Yeah.
What I don't know how to deal with as a selectman is the school. Because they have to be part of this. And people are very proud of the school, as they should be. And it's, you know, it's a great organization. But they're like a $6 million budget and we're like a $5 million budget. So, you know, we're not gonna be able to solve this problem on the municipal side alone, I don't think. my
oh, and I
opinion.
agree with that.
And so how do we engage with
But
the school?
how do you balance, I mean, it's 80%, at least 80% of the school budget is contractual. You
Yeah.
know, I asked the question at the school budget meeting, who negotiates the contracts and is it an adversarial process?
I don't think you'll find that all of that increase was contractual. There were other things that were going on in that budget, than contractual increases. I think you know that.
I do. But a
So-
significant portion is contractual.
I understand that, but, all I'm saying is you're not gonna solve this problem on the backs of the municipal budget. You'd have to decimate it in order to, you know, avoid the kind of tax increases that we're probably looking at. And I don't think people will wanna do that. They're not gonna want the transfer station open one day a week. I'm
They
not
want the roads
suggesting that,
paved.
or not addressing the roads, or things like that. There are things that people, they're gonna want the roads plowed, they're gonna want them salted. It's just, you know, tough choices for people to make.
Well, there's two options, two things. Either you roll the budget we're gonna put forward with you, your taxes go up, or you come to town meeting and put it down.
And I just would prefer not to see a budget fail.
No, nobody wants to see that.
Nobody does.
We don't wanna put any articles on, like, you know, we got a warrant article, that says 0 to 6, we don't wanna see that fail, we put it there.
Yeah.
You know, we would look really bad to go to town meeting and have people start amending our articles. and dropping numbers, you know, that would look pretty bad. Because then we'd have, and then at the end of the day, we're gonna have to decide how we're gonna make it work after the fact.
Because the budget's already down 200,000.
Exactly.
Municipal
The
budget.
problem is when they do that in a town meeting, no one really is able to understand what the impact will be. They say they wanna take this line item and drop it by $200,000. You know, that may be a number that someone puts on the floor,
Sounded good.
and everyone says, oh yeah, sounds like a great idea, and then we gotta go back and look at it, and say,
Where are we gonna get it from?
Who gets fired?
I mean, how many people get fired out of this? And so, that's not the way to do it, and I know you know that. We don't want these changes at town meeting. We wanna be able to do them as part of a process that is transparent and open to the citizens.
All right, Jennifer, I'll get back to you.
Don't be surprised if you see them posted by the end of the night.
I know.
We apologize,
Yeah.
this isn't really our fault, I mean, these numbers came to us late. Yeah, there's nothing we could have done last week, and this is just precautionary, so we do appreciate you guys doing what you can.
So we'll, like I said, my calendar's not up to date in my book, so it's.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
think I've got a very, very busy week next week, and I have to be in Boston a number of days, so I just wanna make sure that I'll be back in time.
So there's gonna be authorization for them to be, what do they normally have to wait?
It's 10 days, yeah, we'll take care of it.
Yeah, okay, good.
Alright.
So we had a motion and a second, correct? Okay, do we have all in favor? Okay, awesome. Okay, where are we now?
New business B.
Further information request.
This is just information for the board that, hello Jennifer, in accordance with the Maine Freedom of Information Act, I hereby request the TD Wealth financial statements for the town of Acton for February of 2024. They're typically 7 to 11 pages. This is something that we've done in the past for Mr. Caruso, so I've already sent it over to him.
Yep.
And then he did give me clarification on a previous Freedom of Information for the Partners Bank, what he was looking for more specifically, so I was able to send that one over and complete it. So I think we're caught up,
Yes, thank you.
and we've got them all completed.
Okay.
Do you want them on a going forward basis?
I'm sorry?
Do you want them on a going forward basis? Because you've
No.
asked for a specific, through a specific date?
No, because you're putting them online anyway, as I requested, I think.
Yeah. I'm not putting the statements online. I
Yeah,
don't
just-
believe,
just-
are we?
Just the ongoing, like you get at home.
When the Freedom of Information, you had us put a new page for Freedom of Information, so anytime the requester makes a request
That
and a
goes on.
response.
Yeah.
No,
It's
no,
on there.
I understand that will be.
Yeah, but
What I'm
it's
trying to understand is, are you gonna want May and June and July?
No, I was just, it was in preparation of what I was trying to
Okay,
understand.
fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah, you good with that?
Yes.
Okay, I guess we're done.
And I will tell you, the live stream is, it's an issue on the town's part. So it is recorded to the SD and, it'll be uploaded to YouTube soon.
Okay, and Ms. Corey will be trying to fix that.
Yes, the problem has been
He's on.
identified.
It's been
Okay.
identified already?
I'm sorry?
It's been identified already?
Yes.
Okay, nice. Crazy way you do it, whole lot. Okay, I guess we're down to public comment. You have any public comment?
Say something real quick.
Yep.
Non-confrontational.
Cool.
Phil, it wasn't.
First of all, it has nothing to do with running for selectmen, because I had no interest. So-
I probably
I knew you
shouldn't
would
have
say
said that. Oh, you did?
Yeah,
You did?
most people.
Well, unfortunately, the word's getting around.
You already told me you weren't running, so I knew
No,
that.
I had no intentions of last July, but Tom, after looking at the last page, and for the sake of expediency, if we could use the 15 minutes to go through that,
Fine with me.
that I'm sure I can summarize.
I think it covered it, but,
Yeah,
you know, and it was just,
I can do that, no problem.
okay, good,
So I appreciate that.
all right. And Phil, I just want to address something. That wasn't confrontational. I was just trying to be direct.
No,
And
I
so
prefer that from
there was no
New Jersey.
intent to be confrontational with you, okay?
Joyce?
Yeah. Hi, just on the updates, we are looking for committee people, but we're also looking for someone to work with Jennifer, a money person and a treasurer. Are there any updates that you can
We've
share?
been interviewing.
Sorry?
We're interviewing now.
Oh, you are, oh, that's great.
Yep.
To hear you're interviewing. Good. just those updates coming along.
You never know until you land someone, but, you
Well,
know,
I,
hopefully,
we'll all do that, we'll all knock on wood.
Yeah.
And, yeah, all you have to do is walk into the office, and you know you better knock on wood. And look at the two faces in there. They need help, they want help.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
They're doing a pretty good job.
They're
keeping
doing an
us-
excellent
Thank you, because I feel
doing a
like
good
3 times in the last week I've heard, you know, that, I mean, nothing's behind, nothing, you're not waiting for anything
I
from anyone.
don't think it's been that much.
No,
I mean, that they're recognizing
heard
how hard
that-
you're working. I
I
think
don't
that's
wanna
what they
put words in
need.
her mouth. I think she was saying, you haven't missed a beat.
You're right,
And,
exactly.
But you're working
thank you
your
for
butt
doing
off.
what you're doing.
Yes,
think
that's
people recognize that.
exactly.
Is that what you
it is.
wanted to say, Joyce?
Tom, you just took the words out of my mouth.
Good.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
Exactly.
Okay.
But on the other things, though, I think, especially where we are with the budgets and things like that, and we know there are gonna be, most importantly, we know there are gonna be changes at the school. And that's gonna, you know, with
Talking about administration?
administration changes. All of those things affect us and affect our bottom line.
Sure.
And there's plenty to talk about that. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, Ray, I see you wanting to. Do you wanna come up, Ray, or you're leaning forward?
Or you're just getting ready to
You
leave?
can't get up.
Oh,
Okay,
come
well,
on,
I'm gonna
Ray,
give him-
come on, Ray, it's only 7 o'clock, we don't wanna leave
Okay,
early.
yeah, there we go, because I didn't wanna say we're gonna close the meeting down when you decided to actually get up.
Jennifer, we won't.
I'm just gonna make a comment on a comment that you made, David. You don't want put it forward any articles that you feel are not gonna pass, or you don't want them amended.
Well, we hope not doing that, yeah.
I do have an issue with one of the articles.
Okay, yep.
In lieu of everything that, we're looking at as far as money, and I don't recall what the article number is, but I'm looking at everything that is in the budget here is to run the town and the school, except for one article. The one article is for all these places that are asking for money. There's 2 in particular that are asking
You're talking
for
about social
$20,000.
Yeah, yeah.
Social services, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So, I'm just kind of giving you guys a heads up. I am going to try to amend that article at the town meeting. I just think that $20,000 for those 2 social services is way too much at this point in time. I'm not saying cut them out. In the
And
beginning,
that's your right to do that, and I've done it. I think I'm probably the last person that's actually amended an article at town meeting. Were you there for that?
I do believe so.
Okay. Don't do what I did though. Be prepared. You have it written out?
I plan to.
Okay, because I did mine on the fly. It worked out, but I think if I had written it out, that would make it clear. It would have gone a little smoother than that.
I just kind of didn't want
I feel like I gotta respond. I'm a lakefront owner, and so I know I have a conflict on this, but I gotta say this anyways. I don't know what the number is, but like 70 or 80% of our taxes come from the lakefront. A huge percent, and we probably find out what that number is. It's just good to have it. But at least for one of those organizations, almost all of that money goes to have a boat inspection program to make sure that we don't have milfoil in our lakes. And I'll tell you what will happen to you. Go look up towns that have lakes that have milfoil and look what's happening to their property values or other invasive species. So think about it as an investment
Joe,
to make sure
I can pick you up on that.
to preserve the tax power, the taxing power and the revenue to the town from those lakes. That's just my point of view. To me, I think that's a worthwhile investment on the part of the town. As a selectman, not as a property owner, but as a selectman, I think it's money well spent.
And that may be so, Tom, but at this point in time, I'm not saying to cut those 2 services down to 0. I got a lot of feedback from people that do live on the lakes and the help that they've received on that aspect. but I just think that $20,000 each is a little excessive when we're trying to do a budget.
And at town meeting, that's what town meeting's for, you make an amendment, somebody will second it, then we'll go to discussion, and then it'll get voted yea or nay, and your motion may not pass.
Correct.
You know, so.
It may.
So it may, but you just gave us a heads up, so we know what to expect. So we're gonna have all the lake
Thanks, Ray.
people will be there, just for you, Ray.
They'll stay for that article.
So,
I have no fear.
yeah, okay, good. You don't have to raise your hand, you can come right on up, sir.
No, in the spirit and the lieu of budget crunch, Tom and I have had this discussion in a meeting with Joyce, but I do have some experience with some nonprofit work, and especially with USDA rural development, and I just think it's a great opportunity for the, you know, and I don't know what their budget is right now, but they have money earmarked for rural communities, and you know, they gauge it by the number of residents, the population. And USDA Rural Development has money for solar, you know, infrastructure for towns, fire departments, wastewater treatment plants, you know, waste management, all sorts of affordable housing for veterans, for low-income families, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to at least, you know, at least to do some research to see how they could help the town of Acton as far as, you know, there's just so much opportunity, whether it be, you know, helping with the town facility. I mean, I know we spent $15,000 or $10,000 on an engineering report to tell us, you know, how we could upgrade this building, ADA accessibility. You know, there's funds there, whether it be grant dollars that we don't have to pay back, or as our funds are depleted, low interest loans or matching funds, et cetera, et cetera. So I know they have money. I built a affordable housing program for homeless vets back in Arizona. And they, you know, they gave us a $150,000 grant that we didn't have to pay back. They gave us a $500,000 mortgage, if you will, on a commercial building at 3% interest rate when banks were charging 7%. I know they helped a school build a gymnasium. I know they helped them build a on-site wastewater treatment plant. So these are departments in every state across America and they can only work with rural communities. So, you know, depending on, like Sanford wouldn't qualify, but Chapley, Acton, usually it's, I'm not sure what the guidelines are in Maine, but I believe it's around anywhere, I think 15,000. They do change it from year to year, but a population of 15,000 or less, that gets you in the door. If you have, like Sanford would never ever qualify. So I'd be more than happy to help facilitate that, or help somebody within the town facilitate the initial meeting, or you don't need me, you can call and just, it's
I'm sorry, could you introduce yourself? I know.
Oh, I'm
we
sorry,
start,
my name's
please.
Gary Rideout. I live here in the town of Acton
Thank you.
on 7th Street. I apologize. But yeah, if someone should do our town a favor and at least make a phone call, they be chomping at the bit. I don't know what they have for projects, but they have to spend the money or they have to give it back to you know, Uncle Sam at the end of the year. So that's all. That's my
Appreciate it, thank you.
Nancy?
Yeah. I just wanted to say in regards to Phil's presentation that obviously most of you have a higher or lower understanding about all of the town finances and the nuances that go into it. But certainly other people that are watching the meeting and may not only live but later in the week could possibly learn something from his presentation.
Thank you.
I just
I
have
don't know how to take the higher floor, but, okay, yep, good.
They-
Any, oh,
I
Dan, you
just
got
have a reminder of the community cleanup, tentatively April 27th. Great opportunity to take pride in the town and clean up, so keep an eye out for more information.
you guys did that last year,
Yep.
right? That's when everybody went on, yeah, awesome, great. Who's facilitating that, who's doing that?
It's a group. You can reach out. I think right now point of contact would be John and Hope. I think they would be
You
organizing.
guys
They have a
head that
list of
up?
volunteers and stuff.
Nice,
And there was a save the date sent out, and I think more information will come. I think a group is meeting this Thursday to kind of get more of those details, and more information will come.
awesome, thank you. Okay, public comment, I guess we are looking for a motion.
I move to adjourn at 7:09.
Second.
All in favor?